You know, a menu can be a list of entrees in a restaurant, or it could be a button on an electronic controller with a list of almost endless options. Most of us like to live our lives like a menu, a list of options we can choose from, and normally we not only choose, but we plan how we're going to spend our summer weekends and holidays, what, where, when we're going to do things. But this COVID-19 crisis has confronted us with an ever-present reality. That is, for all the plans that we make in life. As we face this ongoing challenge of the disruption of our plans, I want us to be aware of three things that I think can help us have better responses. The first is, there's always a bigger picture. The Apostle Paul, in writing to the Ephesians, informed them of this truth. It's found in Ephesians 6, verse 12. For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this age, against spiritual hosts of wickedness in the heavenly places. The battle is always bigger than what's visible. If our frustration and anger, or our fear, depression, cause us to give in to ungodly responses, attitudes, words, behavior, we stand to lose far more than just our temporal plans and goals that we've set for ourselves. We can lose things that are far more precious. The second thing that we need to be aware of is that Jesus was constantly interrupted and continually faced adversity from his enemies. But he turned all of these things into teachable moments and ministering to those in need. For further investigation of this, I would encourage you that during this coming week to read the last half of Mark chapter 1, starting at about verse 21. Read the rest of that chapter and read chapter 2. As you read this, you're going to see that it's just continually one confrontation or adversity or overwhelming situation after another. And as Jesus faced each of these, he turned them into a God-glorifying experience. We need to remember at all times that no matter how overwhelming a situation is to us, how big it seems to be, it's not overwhelming to Jesus. It's not too much for him. He is more than able to handle any crisis that we face, and he's always with us, available to help us. Now, the third thing that we need to be aware of is plainly stated by the Apostle Paul to the believers in Rome. It's found in Romans chapter 8, verse 28. And we know that all things work together for good to those who love God, to those who are called according to his purpose. Now, I need to clarify that this verse did not say all things are good. And this verse is conditional to those who love God and are called according to his purpose. Being called according to God's purpose means that we have surrendered our plans to his. You know, sometimes when we go to a familiar restaurant, we don't even need to look at the menu because we already know what we're going to order. Matter of fact, we probably order that every time we go there. Sometimes we're prone to live our life that way. We want things to be the way we want them. We expect things to be the way we want them. But life is not that way. Oftentimes, it's only when we're faced with adversity, circumstances beyond our control, that we do something different, that we try something new. And oftentimes, it's during those times that we do something new, that we try something different, that it brings something far better, a greater good. We accomplish things that we never thought we could, and we never would have tried, except that we had to. Now, if I were in church, I could ask for a show of hands. How many of us have faced circumstances, adversity, that made us try something new, made us do it a different way? And when we look back on it, we recognize that because we were forced into it, we benefited from it. It actually turned out to be a blessing for us. Since that's a truth for many of us, as we face these times of uncertainty, as we face circumstances that are beyond our control, as we face adversity, things that oftentimes provoke responses from us that are attitudes and words and behaviors that we shouldn't voice. We need to have a better response. We need to not give in to the instantaneous attitudes and thoughts that come our way as we face adversity. And so there's three considerations that I think can help us have a better response. But we need to consider these truths and personally answer some questions. The first one being, have we surrendered? Have we submitted our plans to God? The Apostle James said it pretty strongly in James chapter 4, verses 13 through 15. Come now, you who say today or tomorrow, we will go to such a city, spend a year there, buy and sell, make a profit. Whereas you do not know what will happen tomorrow. For what is your life? It is even a vapor that appears for a little time and then vanishes away. Instead, you ought to say, if the Lord wills, we shall live and do this or that. James was crystal clear. We are to surrender our plans and our will to God. The second consideration is, have we prioritized compassion? Remember, Jesus taught his followers the parable of the Good Samaritan, the one who forfeited his plans for the day and his money to help a helpless victim. Have we considered that Jesus concluded his teaching with this statement, go and do likewise? Have we prioritized compassion? Are we ready to help those that as we go through life, they come across our path, they're in desperate situations, our plans may have to be forfeited? Have we prioritized compassion? Thirdly, and possibly most importantly, do we have faith? Do we trust that God will provide for us, and care for us, that he's always with us and able to satisfy us, provide for us better than our own plans and ability? You know, this is a truth that sometimes takes years to learn. God can take better care of us than we can. God can take better care of us than we can. David expressed it like this in the 23rd Psalm, verses 4 and 5. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup runs over. God can take care of us better than we can take care of us. Would you pray with me? Father, as we face adversity that interrupts our lives and changes our plans, let us not fall prey to anger, frustration, disappointment, fear, depression, but help us surrender to you. See change as an opportunity to grow. Help us to know that you are always with us. You'll take care of us and keep us, regardless of how desperate the situation is. These things I ask in Jesus' name. Thanks for spending time with me. God bless you and keep you. I think I'm going to see what's on the menu.